Hi, I'm Bob Ryan. This is Globe 10.0. With me today is Christopher Gasper. New England Patriots, a team offering a little bit of controversy these days, Chris, and it all starts with the man in charge. People starting to wonder whether Bill Belichick has taken on a little bit too much as time goes on, and that Bill Belichick, the GM, is starting to become the worst enemy of Bill Belichick, the coach, very much like Rick Pitino's situation in the not too many years past. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think, look, I think people are talking about it now, but I mean, that argument was being made by certain people in 2009, you know, the Joey Galloway situation, and what happened, Dallas Thomas not, working out, and you looked at that roster, they had some issues there. I think what's happened a little bit is, they accumulate a lot of draft picks. Draft picks are tough. It's hit and miss, even for the best drafters. They haven't hit as many as they needed to, and then they bring in these veteran guys, these quick fix guys, and of late they haven't worked out. No. Dallas, Sean Springs, Hainsworth hasn't really given what they thought, and Chad Ochocinco on the other side of the ball. And that's what happens when you don't draft as well as you traditionally have, and you have to get these veteran fill-in guys, and they don't work out. You have holes.
The fact is that the evidence is quite clear that his best years as both a drafter and signer of free agents was in the very beginning.
Yes.
Scott Pioli was here then. Now, I know he was a Belichick import, but he was obviously very good. Is there anybody that says no to Belichick? I mean, does Belichick just totally gets everything he wants, and maybe he needs to have a curb here?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. I think even when Pioli was there, Bill has always had the final call.
Final call.
But maybe there were some other people who were able to influence his decisions a little more. I happen to think Nick Caserio is very bright and very good, but he sort of is at a point where he owes his career to Bill. It's probably harder to challenge that guy. And you see, Michael Holley, former Globe colleague of ours, has the book coming out talking about them drafting, Chad Jackson, a guy that people in the organization didn't want, and Lawrence Maroney. So at the end of the day, in these drafts, the final call is Bill's. And of late, he hasn't had as many hits as he had in the beginning of his tenure.
And then there was the DB factor, because DBs appear to be to him as shortstops are to Theo.
Well, it's a new tight end for him. He's always drafted tight ends. Now it's always defensive backs. They've gone crazy.
But trying to find, McCourty, of course, looked like he had something good going there, and he's taken a step back, and we don't know what to do with him.
But here's the thing, Bob. It's not just picking players; it's coaching and development. I think the two things. Baseball, we always talk about player development. Football, you get a more ready-made product, but there is a development factor. And you see a guy like McCourty or Butler come in, and they're good as rookies, and then sort of there's a decline. They don't improve. And to me, that's not bad drafting. That's what's going on with the coaching, the positional coaching. Maybe is an issue as well.
But the issue will always be whether you should have a strong GM and a strong coach, or the power invested in one guy. And I think the greatest example of the former was the Giants with George Young and Bill Parcells. And I will remind you what Lord Acton said, and it applies to sports as much as it applies to politics. And he said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That may very well be what's going on around here.